So hopefully I'm in frame. I'm finally recording with my phone and a wireless, well, not a wireless, but a wired mic. Anyway, point was, I know I bought a couple books like some months ago, right? And it was a whole thing. Now I've had these books for like a month already, and I'm finally getting around to making a video. But I went ahead and bought some more books, and this time it was a whole bigger lot. I think last time was what, 10 books, give or take? I don't remember. But this time it's 24. I kind of switched them off between 4 different sections, which is tactics, endgames, openings, and I guess you can consider the other ones middle game. It's more like a mix of analyzed games and just, well, you'll see. And I guess, yeah, it's all pretty much middle games. So starting as the game goes with the opening books. Valeri Bronznik. D4, beat the Guerrilas, a powerful opening repertoire against annoying black sidelines. D4 provides effective recipes against a broad range of England Gambit with the U, Budapest, the Shara Henin Gambit, English defense, Baltic defense, carries defense. Basically, you play D4, your opponent plays something you don't even know, but now you'll know it, okay? So you don't get caught up in the weeds of theory that you should have known, but don't. Then there's this interesting one from September 2011 called Chess Evolution, which is the top analysis by Super GMs. Basically a bunch of names that Etienne Bacro. I do recognize that. I know how to pronounce it. At least I hope. Basically, this just offers a bunch of theory of, like, I think recent games that were just analyzed by these grandmasters. And so maybe you could consider this into the middle game. Although I think the whole point is to analyze the opening. Yeah, see, the most up-to-date and highest quality opening theory. And I do think they go through the whole game. I don't know how many games are in here. Let me check. So you have A, 6 games. Then B, 7 to 13 was another 6 games. No, 7. Another 7 games. And I assume these are all the different grandmasters taking their turns at checking each opening, if you will. But okay, there's that. Then it was 2 John Shaw books on playing E4. Volume 2 and 3. I'm missing Volume 1. Volume 1 is Caro-Kann versus Sicilian mainline. No, Sicilian mainlines is this one. French defense and Sicilian sidelines. And then I think the first edition is against the Caro-Kann, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if it says on the back. It doesn't say. 3rd volume. Oh no, I think it is the Caro-Kann for volume 1. So E4 versus the Caro-Kann. And these things are thick. Okay, so basically E4 best by test, but these two pretty much give you a full repertoire of E4 and versus whatever else you might face. And so we have Sicilian mainline, sidelines, and French. And then I'm missing volume 1, but that's the Caro-Kann. And I have a book on the Caro-Kann that my dad has on his bookshelf. So if I have to study it, there you go. Although I would like to get the first volume of that one. Although we have another one, not by John Shaw, but edited by John Shaw and Jacob Agard, very popular, famous chess book author, who's written, Attack and Defense, Thinking Inside the Box, The Calculation, it's like the Road to Grandmaster series or something like that. Really good books. Have a couple of them. But this is experts on the Anti-Sicilian, which is basically just the analysis. And it's basically just a bunch of lines or Anti-Sicilians. And then how to play them. So that's interesting. Then we had Viktor Mikhalevski's Beating Minor Openings. Another opening book, obviously. There's only one after this one for openings at least. But yeah, this one's also pretty interesting, although this is obviously against minor openings. So irregularities, Bird's opening, G1, G3, Larson's opening, C4, E5, and Knight F3, D5, and a bunch of the moves that go with that. Knight F3, Knight F6, B6, and then 1 Knight F3, Knight F6, G6, and then a bunch of lines. 550 pages worth. Okay, so if you guys got your little courses, no. This is how it was originally done. Just books. Tired of bad positions? Try the main lines. Yeah. Perfect. More opening knowledge, so never hurts. And then there's 125 chess opening surprises by Graham Burgess. 125 chess opening surprises. An arsenal of red-hot opening ideas to shock and confuse your opponent. He's a FIDE master, Gambit's editorial director, one of the founders of the company, world record for Marathon Bliss chess playing, lives in Minnesota, 24 chess book. That's the thing. Sometimes I don't really, not that I don't trust, but I don't really feel like that they're the best authors for chess books when they have 24 chess books, right? Which is like, I don't know, right? Like, if you're writing so many books, how good can they be, right? How in-depth could they be if you're releasing 24 books? Obviously, it depends if it's over a lifetime, perhaps, but I don't think they were doing this over like 50 years, right? Also, not to put down a FIDE master, but sometimes like there is a difference between Grandmaster, International Master, even Super GM, which we'll actually get to see a couple books by them, and then FIDE Master, Candidate Master, and things like that, right? So FIDE Master. So, you know, I don't want to be like, you know, still probably better than me. And by probably, I mean, they are, right? But again, just putting that out there. Openings lead into middle games. And so, yeah, I mean, tactics, middle games, it's kind of both. There's tactics in the middle game, even tactics in the opening. So since they're between middle games and end games, or openings, well, since tactics can really be found within openings and middle games, so I guess I can put it in between. It was these two volumes, Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Istvan Pongo, Tactical Chess, what does it say at the back? Tactical Targets in Chess. Volume 1 is getting decisive material advantage, as opposed to Volume 2, which is mate combinations, right? And so that's interesting, to say the least. And again, those are all the opening books. Now it's a bunch of tactics books. So there's those. This one looks really nice. I mean, altogether, it's probably well over 1,000 tactics, probably close to 2,000 tactics between all the books I got and books I already owned prior to buying these. But we also have Improve Your Chess Tactics, 700 Practical Lessons and Exercises by Yakov Neishtadt. Who knows? Again, I'm really bad. Well, yeah, I guess I'm bad at pronouncing names, but at the same time, a lot of these chess players are not, you know, they don't have English names, right? English or American sounding names, which I am an American, so what can I say? That'll be my excuse. But, yeah, it's just a bunch of tactics, basically. They teach you a couple of tactics, and they examine you with a couple exercises at the end. So there's 700 practical lessons and exercises. After that, now this was one of the reasons why I got this set, is, as you can hear it, hardcover, The Woodpecker Method by Axel Smith and Hans Tikkanen. Tikkanen? Who knows? I know, what's his name? The Chess Nerd, I think. Maybe even, is it Alex Kovutsky? Something like that from Chess Dojo, right? The IM. Is it Alex? No. I don't know. The point is, I think he also likes or recommends the Woodpecker Method. I know the Chess Nerd, I think it was, if that's his name, recommends this one, right? He really likes it. He's gone through it. He likes Axel Smith as well, because I think either he or Chess Dojo also mentioned Pump Up Your Rating by Axel Smith. Matter of fact, it's actually in here. It was in the lot, so we'll go into that later. But the Woodpecker Method is basically just more tactics. Again, these are all just for tactics so far. But the point is to get a instinctual memorization, kind of like Anki cards, but basically just keep repeating and drilling until you, I forget what the challenge is. It doesn't say in the back. I forget, it was like you're supposed to finish all of them in a day, or get to the point where you could just zip through it and get all of them done in a day. But a final session, let's see. I should explain, right? Okay, so here. Couple definitions. Set exercises which you solve before you start all over again. Cycle 1 round of solving the set. Normally you will perform up to 7 cycles with 1 set. Cycle 1, solve as many exercises as you can manage in 4 weeks. These exercises are your set, and solving them brings you to the end of your first cycle. Step 2, take a break from chess for at least a clear day and up to a week if you need it. Step 3, cycle 2, solve the same set of exercises but faster. Within 2 weeks is the target. Step 4, repeat steps 2 and 3 and repeat again. Aim to complete each cycle in half the number of days as the previous cycle. Round it up when dealing with an odd number of days. Step 5, the Woodpecker method has been completed when the full set of exercises have been solved entirely in one day, or after the 7th cycle. If you are unable to solve the full set in a day, in the final 2 cycles, you should focus more on spotting ideas, patterns, and motifs at speed and less on the finer details of calculation. So yeah, basically the final goal is to finish all the puzzles within 1 day. Very popular, I think. I mean, how popular can a chess book really get, right? I guess within the actual chess community. But well known. And that's it. Hardcover, no less. Soviet Middle Game Technique by Peter Romanovsky. I don't know how good this is. I know, again, Chess Dojo guy, as I'll call him for now, recommends Ilya Maizelius, something like that, which is not Soviet Middle Game Technique. It's called Soviet Chess Primer? I think it says here in the back. No, they don't have it on the back. But I forget what it was called. I don't know if it's Soviet Chess Primer or something like that, but it's basically another intro to chess, if you will, a better my system, he says, right? Or a modern my system. Not that there's anything wrong with my system. That's another thing that I don't understand. When chess players, when he made a video on the most overrated chess books, and one of them was My System by Aaron Nimcevich, and I don't necessarily agree with that, considering the fact that, as I like to put it, and I tell my dad, I'm like, this guy says it's overrated, but if you or me were to get as good as Aaron Nimcevich, I think we would be pretty much better off than before, right? In terms of, he was a good player, right? If you actually listen to what he says in the book and you apply it and you use your own critical thinking, whatever, if you learn off of the book and become just as good as he was, you're already better than most players, right? So that's the thing I'm saying, right? It's like, even if you learn the wrong way, like some things that, again, it's chess and nothing really has changed, but obviously with the exception of computers, but the only application for computers where it really matters, where if you're not playing the most cutting edge, is at the highest levels of chess, right? But for most people who aren't even 1,000 or just getting to 1,000, just past 1,000, I say like a casual club player, if anything, can still benefit from something like My System. So again, to say it's overrated is, I don't know. Anyway, Soviet Middle Game Technique, Peter Romanovsky. I think this is another good one. Another reason why I also got this whole book lot. But it's a good book. And why did I put that in the middle game? I guess we're skipping tactics and going straight to the middle games because there's a middle game technique. After that, it was the Hypermodern Game of Chess by Savielly Tartakower. Again, and I just mentioned Nimcevich, where his school of chess was modern chess, not controlling the center directly, but instead from afar with the bishops, from what I know of what modern chess is, or in this case hypermodern, which is just that as I explained it. I mean, you see a book like this with the text this small and just this many pages. I mean, this thing is a thick boy, big too, and yeah, almost 400 pages. And this is interesting, based off the back. At first glance, it appears to be an opening manual. Talking about the book. What is it saying? Opening manual with incredibly comprehensive notes, but in fact there's much more. Essays on strategy, tactics, endings, history, and other chess-related topics, all presented in Tartakower's wonderful writing style. Hypermodern Game of Chess is the first English language work of the second edition. Several hundred diagrams have been added and some reformatting of the text has been done to meet the expectations of the 21st century readers. In every other respect, it preserves all the comprehensive content. So now it's in English. Savielly Tartakower is a good player. I think he has an opening named after him. And yeah, there you go. I just explained it to you basically. And this is what now, middle games? We had this random one that was in there. Alik, Gershon, and Igor Nor. San Luis. San Luis. Yeah, I guess San Luis. 2005. Which is a tournament. It's hyping it up in the back. Talking about how it's like Zurich 53. Which I also bought a copy of recently. I don't know if I put it in the video of the book lot that I did for the other ones. But yeah. They're saying this is the new Zurich 53. Which is quite a tall task, if I do say so myself. I mean, this definitely has a lot more in terms of story-wise, as in what is actually happening, based off of just a quick glance. But we do have game 29. This is analyzed pretty in-depth. Game 30. Let's see. 31. I don't know how in-depth all of the analyses are, or if they go through all of the actual games, as I mentioned. Yeah, it seems like, I don't know. Again, I'd have to go through it and see. I don't know if there were some that they just didn't analyze completely. But there you go. That's another, I guess you can consider it a middle game book, considering that it's just an analysis of games, which, to be fair, most super GMs, and strong players say that a lot of their strength and ability came from analyzing games and reading collections of games that were analyzed by someone stronger, right? Seeing how they thought, their thought process, and so on and so forth. So, that's not a bad thing. Now we had Dvoretsky's Analytical Manual, 2nd edition. From what I've read at the back, it seems to be on how to analyze the position, but kind of leaning towards calculation, right? Because it doesn't really say much outside of that, except like it's training material and has a lot of exercises, yada yada yada. That's nice, but what is it actually trying to do, right? Analytical manual makes me think it's just analysis, but it's during the game, so that would be calculation. Immersion in the position, games for training purposes, analyzing the endgame. So yeah, I guess this is just working on your analysis, which is at the end of the day calculation. And if you can get good at calculation, you can play without fear. Because a lot of people say, I don't want to go into what instinctually felt like a better end game or the right move because I could not calculate to the end, right? That's something that International Master Andras Tot, I think so, mentions a lot, where he's like, feelings and chess don't really go together. It's not like, I was scared of this position. Cool, well, why? Okay, where's the calculation? Chess is objective, right? It's not very, there's no random chance to it, right? So when you say that I was scared of a position, it's either, I mean, there's nothing to be scared of, right? For starters, it's just chess, right? What are you scared of? Obviously, you don't want to lose, whatnot. But at the end of the day, if you calculate to the end, there's nothing to be scared of. Now, albeit you could be calculating wrong, but you can learn from that. And I mean, the point of this book, I assume, is to not calculate wrong and to learn how to do that beforehand. But hopefully you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. And then the aforementioned Pump Up Your Rating by Axel Smith, his other book, which also gets glowing reviews from international masters and other high-rated. Oh, look, here we go. See those? Calculation, strategic play, and positional play. Those are the 3 Jacob Agar books that I have. Well, I say I have, that my dad has. But yeah, basically, those are the 3 that we have collectively, since, you know, for all intents and purposes, if I want to borrow a book of his or he borrows one of mine, it's fine. So those 3 books are also really good. I mean, really good. And they're by Jacob Agar, who I mentioned in a couple of these other books, who either edited or just left like a note or forward or whatever they call them, right? But yeah, Pump Up Your Rating, basically just how to get your rating up when you're like, say, I don't know, I want to say a beginner, like a club player. Well, the cover of the book says from 1200 up to 2400. So definitely over 1,000 maybe, since Pump Up Your Rating. Probably not a complete beginner's book. But again, I haven't gone through it, so who am I to say? Yeah, pretty much seems to be aimed towards someone who's already playing chess, feels that they stagnated and wants to get better. But these two are one of the main reasons I actually got this lot, outside of Woodpecker Method, Pump Up Your Rating, a couple of the Dvoretsky books, because there was actually 2 Endgame manuals in there. So there's that, and I already had one. But now, for the main books that I honestly really was the main driving force behind why I bought this lot, but these are the Super GM I was mentioning or alluding to earlier. Boris Gelfand's Dynamic Decision Making in Chess and Positional Decision Making in Chess. They're not that thick, but I hear they're very dense, and I don't know which one it is. Look at this. Invaluable help from Jacob Agard. Again, just an amazing chess writer, I suppose, and player. I mean, I don't know. I've never actually seen any of his games, but about 300 pages here, more like 265. Over 200 pages here, and then 200 pages here, I would assume. It's about the same length. Actually closer, yeah, about 250, 240, and then the rest is appendix and all that. It's about 500 pages between these two, and there's actually a third one, so there's that. But this is really one of the main reasons why I got this this book lot, if you will. And so these are good. Definitely on the more expensive side if I were to get them individually, but in the lot, they were actually quite cheap. And then we have the last middle game book, which is Mihai Suba's Positional Chess Sacrifices. Now, Mihai Suba I have heard of, like just watching chess videos, right? And this is just another book on, as the name would suggest, Positional Chess Sacrifices. I'll just read the back so you get an idea. In chess, sacrificing material is the most dramatic way to try to seize the advantage. Most sacrifices have a forcing aim in mind, but most profound of all are positional sacrifices, where the end is impossible to foresee and thus fine judgment, understanding, and intuition are required. Such sacrifices are a mystery to many players, but acclaimed author and grandmaster Mihai Suba explains the secrets of this technique in his characteristically bold and humorous style. Romanian grandmaster, previous book Dynamic Chess Strategy, highly acclaimed by critics and won the BCF Book of the Year award or prize. Yeah, basically sacrificing with positional understanding, right? If I get the gist right. Then we have a bunch of endgame books. Again, if I had to rank them, it'd be the Boris Gelfand books, 100 Endgames You Must Know by Jesus de la Villa, which if you've seen chess books, I think I have a course, Chessable course, whatever, I don't know. But an online version of this where you can go through it. Basically, the 100 endgames that you must know, you know, basically most basic, nothing like Endgame Manual, Dvoretsky's Endgame Manual, which is a complete, I mean, it's a beast, right? Everyone always mentions you got to be at least a title player to read it, or at the very least, you'll only reap the most benefit if you're a title player. Okay, whatever. Are they right? Perhaps. Is that a reason why you shouldn't read it? I don't think so. Unless you're like really a beginner, in which case, okay, maybe. Yeah. But 100 Games You Must Know. I mean, this is very popular. And another reason why, yeah, it was the Boris Gelfand books, the 100 Games You Must Know, the Axel Smith books, and then the Dvoretsky books. Endings. John Nunn's Chess Endings, Volume 1 and Volume 2. I think I have a lot of, well, actually I was going to say I have a lot of ending books now, but actually I just have a lot of chess books in general, because after these two came Dvoretsky's Endgame Manual, 2nd edition and 4th edition. This was the previous 1st edition that I had, which I gave away, and by gave away I meant to someone else, and then just the other two. Personally, in my library I have the 4th edition. But I mean, that's pretty much all the books that I got in the lot. It was about, what? Not about, it was 24 books. Good price. I'm not going to say, just in case my mom watches this video, I swear they were like 10 bucks. But, yeah. These are all really good books. Now, there's a thing. I'm buying books, but I always have to read them. So, hopefully, I get around to that. Because there's not really a point in just buying books. Again, I like to distinguish between buying books to read, like reading books, and collecting books. And I kind of fall into both categories. So sometimes it's hard not to jump the gun, if you will, and just buy something if it's a good price. Like, I just went thrifting today and I actually found a couple good books that I just had to have. But either way, I'm glad I got these books. Quite a few books. Quite a long video probably. And honestly, that's about it. But yeah, my top 5, the Boris Gelfand books. Do I count them as 2 or just count them as 1? Good question. The 100 Endgames You Must Know. And these are the ones that are like on my bookshelf specifically. Mihai Suba's Positional Chess Sacrifices. Pump Up Your Rating, Axel Smith. Dvoretsky's Analytical Manual, that's also there. Dvoretsky's Endgame Manual, which is also there. I guess it's not a top 5 anymore, but anyway. I have Nunn's Chess Endings, Volume 1 and 2, only because why not? The openings are in the second shelf, if that tells you anything on what I think about them. I also have the Hypermodern Game of Chess, Tartakower's book. Soviet Middlegame Techniques on my dad's shelf, but that's also another good one. Woodpecker Method by Axel Smith. Improve Your Chess Tactics is also on my bookshelf. And then the first bookshelf, I categorize them as the best and then second best, if you will. And then both volumes of Tactical Targets in Chess. And then the rest are a bunch of opening books. Actually, the rest are just all the opening books that just, they're just opening books, right? They're nice to have. You read them, you learn it. But what really improves your chess, when it comes down to it, are all these tactics and games as well, I suppose. Because as Capablanca says, when you understand the endgame, you understand the game. Something like that, quoted. Don't quote me. So middle game, tactics, and endgame. And those are really the books that are going to make you better at chess. Opening books, you can always learn your opening somewhere else. I am trying to get my hands on Johann Hellstein's opening strategy, I think it is. And his just regular strategy textbook, not textbook, but a chess book. And so hopefully I can get my hands on those. But outside of that, that's pretty much it. That was the whole haul. A lot of books, a lot of reading to do. Hopefully uploading more videos on actual chess and just learning and practicing and going to tournaments. Or else, what would be the point, right? Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.